Hello, WW2German4Sale here, and today I'm bringing you an exciting new video. I want to show off this helmet and its unique story behind it. So without further ado, let's get back into the video. Before I delve into the history behind this helmet, I just want to tell my own personal history with this helmet. It was beginning of the pandemic. I purchased this from a very reputable dealer called Toronto Military Antiques. I remember biking in the summer heat to come and get it, and I actually got a pretty good deal on this helmet here. Holding history never ceases to amaze me. So right here we have the M42. We know this is an M42 because the edge is not rolled, and you can tell that this vent has been pressed in. And look, I already know what you're gonna say because I've been moving this helmet around for a couple minutes here. What is with that decal? Like, actually, what is wrong with this decal? It looks nothing like the original decal, which is on screen right now. Now, before I get into that, and trust me, I will, I want to go over a few other things. So, let's look at the helmet itself, okay? We got a very solid shell, and let's take a look at these liner pins. We can notice it has the proper wear, and everything is what you would expect. It's the same color as the paint. And so I tried to show in here that there's actually a dome stamp, surprisingly, but I didn't really capture it on camera. Sorry about that. So yeah, we're looking at this helmet and we got a really good liner. Obviously the liner string has been replaced at some point, but that was mostly to keep it onto the display that it's currently on. But yeah, this is just a really nice helmet. The leather is in really good shape. Just everything about this. It just looks immaculate from the inside. And right here I'm showing you, this is the lot number as along with the factory, which is CKL. It's a 64 size. And trust me, I've went into the database. This helmet does show, and it does belong to a no decal M42 helmet. Okay, so now that we've established that this helmet was not originally made with a decal in mind, let's get into why does this helmet have such a goofy looking decal on it. Now, when I'm buying a helmet, I'm not very big on stories when people try to conjure up something that may or not be real, but the story I got from Toronto Military Antiques is that the veteran's son came in to sell this helmet to them, and they said it belonged to the old guy, and the soldier that was wearing this helmet then popped off a few in his own. But I don't believe this story, and I'll get into it. So we can see the bullets actually shooting through the helmet upwards, coming out of the shell, which doesn't make sense, especially if somebody is pointed at themselves. How does that happen, and how do you have time to fire 3 rounds up? And if you remember seeing the liner from earlier, yes, it's got holes in it, but it's damn near perfect. Like, there is no stains, nothing like that, and the dome is perfectly fine, whereas you would expect a little bit of for lack of a better term, matter all over it. Another detail worth mentioning here, if you haven't noticed already, look how the holes are on the liner, and notice how the holes are down there on the actual shell. Well, there is an explanation for this. I believe that the liner has been taken out at some point and then put back into this helmet. You can even see with the stitch, that stitch should always be on the back of the helmet, but this one, it's at the front. Now, if we combine this with the fact that the liner pins have been loose, I think it's safe to assume that this has been moved around at some point, but is still original to the helmet. I have no idea why it was put backwards. I think that's a very hard mistake to make, but at some point it has been. Now, how do we know that this is original liner? Well, I've seen the side of it. It's been perfectly marked. This is an original liner band. How do I know the leather is original? Looking at the wear and tear, and then this is original to the band because, man, those liner pins are hard. Anybody that's worked with these liners, you can see these little pins up there. Those things are incredibly hard to put in. I think only the factory would be able to do that since the day. So that's always something to keep in mind when you're trying to restore your own helmet. So I've said all I've seen. Now let's get into my theory of what happened with this helmet. I do believe it was picked up by a Canadian veteran. I believe that the son sold it to the shop, and he probably didn't know the full history of this helmet. but I can guarantee you that this is not the original decal. Well, my guess is this guy probably put it on a stake, took a couple shots at it for target practice, and then painted a decal maybe afterwards or before. Obviously, the person that painted this decal probably did not know what the original decal would look like. They probably saw other helmets and saw their other buddies collecting the helmets and thought, geez, why does mine not have a decal? Mine needs a decal. So he took it upon himself, and very well done decal in terms of the paint quality and everything. It had put a lot of effort into actually painting a decal on this M42. However, if you were planning to do this with your next M42 helmet, let me just give you some reasons why not to do something like this. First of all, kind of ruins the history, okay? This was not shot in battle, so therefore, if it's happened after the war, it should be left alone for let other people to study it and understand what happened to the helmet. Another thing, if you're going to resell it, it's just going to ruin the value. Like, this would have been easily maybe a $500 to $600 helmet. Remember, I'm talking about Canadian dollars, so you can do the conversion rate on your own. But now we're looking at maybe a $450 helmet. In the end of the day, if you're trying to resell this to a collector, collectors normally look for something that has high importance and two, in very good condition. They're always looking for those two keys. If you can have both of those, it's a perfect. It's like, imagine if you had an SS Relic, that would probably go for maybe $400. But if you have a really good condition one, that's a lot more. But on the other hand, you can have this really good M42 with no decal. It's got a lower significance than the SS1, but it's in really good condition. They kind of equalize out. You can actually make them sometimes equal in value, despite one being really good condition, the other one being more historically significant. Anyways, that's just my thought on the matter. Hope you enjoyed this video. Please subscribe.